we deeply love and highly honor Naga City, the heart of Bicol. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Pambansang awit.
Again, good morning. Next item.
Privilege time.
Anybody who'd like to avail of the privilege time? None? Okay, next item.
Reading and approval of the order of business.
Honorable Baldemoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I move to dispense the reading of the order of business with the following so many inclusion. Item number 4, the special business or order.
Number 5.
May I request for the modification, Madam Chair. The item number 1 is the state of the city report of the city mayor. So the item number 2 will become the item number 1. And item number 4, the special business or order, is the resolution of the City Development Council approving the proposed supplemental annual investment program for 2020. Item number 5, the SBO, is the resolution of the City Development Council approving the annual investment program for calendar year 2021. Item number 6 is the letter from the City Mayor, marked as urgent, requesting for a passage of an ordinance authorizing the full payment of the balance of the just compensation to Mrs. Judith Claro amounting to 217,500, which is inclusive of an estimated 100,000 in capital gains tax and documentary stamp tax located at Barangay Balatas. Under unfinished business, Madam Chair, item number 19 is the committee report of the Committee on City Properties. Item number 20 is the committee report of the Committee on Environment and Energy. Item number 21 is the letter from the City Mayor requesting for a resolution granting the undersigned for the authority to make a request for the Home Development Mutual Fund for the to extend additional fund allocation to finance the housing loan accounts of the remaining 26 employee beneficiary of Naga City Employees Housing Project 2. Item number 22 is the endorsement from the City Mayor endorsing the Memorandum of Agreement with the Health Learning Center for ratification. Item number 23 is the letter from the City Legal Office requesting for the enactment of an appropriation ordinance to acquire the properties of the heirs of Carmelita Ang located in Barangay Balatas. Item number 24 is also letter from the City Legal Office requesting for enactment of an expropriation ordinance to acquire the properties of Mr. Alfredo Baron et al. At Barangay Pacol. Item number 25 is the letter from the DPWH pertaining to the Barangay Resolution number 2019-11-90 o Barangay Concepcion Pequeña. Under new business, Madam Chair, item number 6 is the letter from the City Planning and Development Office requesting to amend the proposed comprehensive land use and zoning maps. Item number 7 is the letter from the City Mayor submitting the proposed site development plan for the Almeda property of the City Government of Naga. Item number 8 is the proposed resolution of the Honorable Mila Rakid Arroyo amending the internal rules of procedure to allow the holding of its session or committee hearings through online video conferencing. Item number 9 is the proposed resolution authored by the Honorable Joselito del Rosario, an ordinance further regulating the operation of trimobile not for hire in the City of Naga, mandating and authorizing the replacement or issuance of new plates, providing guidelines for the implementation, appropriating funds thereof, and for other purposes. Item number 10 is the letter from Mr. Gilbert Benetis requesting in behalf of the stallholder at Naga City People's Mall not to penalize in case to miss the monthly obligation for paying store rentals. Item number 11 is the endorsement from Barangay Igualdad endorsing the application for pedicab franchise of Kagawad Josephine Panganiban. Item number 12, the new business, is a letter from the City Mayor endorsing requesting for a passage of a resolution authorizing the charging against the current appropriation of various prior years' obligation. Item number 13, the new business, is also a letter from the City Mayor requesting for passage of an ordinance appropriating the amount of 6,878,943 as augmentation for various offices chargeable against the 2019 surplus. And lastly, Madam Chair, as item number 5, the other matters, is the letter from Development Academy of the Philippines pertaining to the invitation for the course on effective local legislation. I so move for its approval, Madam Chair.
Okay, Honorable Del Castillo, before the approval.
View of the sudden occurrence of COVID-19 patient in the city, I believe that we should support the request of the mayor to the regional interagency task force on emerging infectious disease for the city of Naga to institute a border control. I think I believe that it is one way of controlling the occurrence of COVID-19 cases in the city of Naga. So with that, Madam Chair, I move that I request that a proposed resolution be included under SBO for that particular purpose. With the indulgence, of course, of the chair of the Committee on Roads and Privileges.
That will be item number 1 in the SBO.
No, Madam Chair. Item number 7.
Item number
7 of the SBO. And another, Madam Chair, as item number 8 of the special business or order, also a letter from the City Mayor pertaining to the draft deed of donation from the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office for the donation to the City Government of Naga, 1 medical transport vehicle or ambulance. I so move for its approval, Madam Chair.
In second, approved. Agenda is approved as amended. I acknowledging the presence of Honorable Gil Rosales, Honorable Milarakid Arroyo, and Honorable Kylie Rifulca. Next item.
Order of business, special business order, the endorsement from the City Budget Officer forwarding the annual budget of Sangguniang Kabataan of San Isidro involving the amount of 414,976 pesos.
Honorable Rosales, Chairman of the Committee on Appropriation.
This pertains to the 10% details of the SK budget of the Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay San Isidro, involving the amount of 414,976 pesos. May I move on joint and collective motion for its approval?
On joint and collective motion, this is approved. Next item.
Another endorsement from the City Budget Officer endorsing the annual budget of Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay Concepcion Pequeña involving the amount of 2,199,000 pesos.
Again, Honorable Rosales.
The same way with the Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay Concepcion Pequeña submitting their 10% details of their annual budget. May I also move on joint and collective motion for the declaration of their annual budget as operative in its entirety involving the amount of 2,199,000 pesos.
Okay, approve on joint and collective motion. Next item.
The endorsement from the City Budget Officer endorsing the annual budget of Sangguniang Kabataan of Tinago, the amount of 496,785 pesos.
Honorable Rosales.
May I also move on joint and collective for the declaration of the annual budget of Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay Tinago involving the amount of 496,785 pesos as operative in its entirety.
On joint and collective motion, this is approved. Next item.
Copy of Resolution Number 007 of the City Development Council approving the proposed supplemental annual investment program for 2020.
Honorable Baldemoro.
May I move, Madam Chair, to temporarily defer item number
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Okay, temporarily deferred, item number 4 and 5. Next item.
The letter dated June 30, 2020 of the Honorable City Mayor requesting for an ordinance authorizing the full payment of the balance of just compensation to Mrs. Judith Claro, the amount of 217,500 pesos, exclusive of estimated 100,000 capital gains tax and documentary stamp.
Any motion? Honorable Elmer Moro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, this pertains to the remaining balance of our payment to Mrs. Judith Claro. So may I move, Madam Chair, to pass an ordinance authorizing the full payment of the balance of the just compensation to Mrs. Judith Claro amounting to 217,500.
Any second
I so
to the
move.
motion? Okay, approved. Next item.
The letter dated June 26, 2020 of the Honorable City Mayor with respect to the draft deed of donation from the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes.
No, I think
Madam Chair.
itong ano. Okay, Honorable. Diba?
This is the, in 2017, I requested the PCSO to allocate 1 unit of ambulance hospital under Resolution 2017-307. Now it has come to reality, Madam Chair. The deed of donation for 1 ambulance is now ready for signature of the Mayor. So may I now propose that we pass a resolution authorizing the Honorable Mayor Legacion to enter into a agreement of deed of donation with Philippine Charity Sweepstake for 1 unit of medical vehicle, open parenthesis, ambulance, close parenthesis.
Any second to the motion? Okay, approved. Next item.
The proposed resolution of the Honorable Salvador M. Del Castillo supporting the request of His Honor the City Mayor for the regional IATF.
Honorable Del Castillo.
Recently, Madam Chair, for the past 40 days, as of June 25, we have only 7 cases in the city of Naga prior to the influx of the so-called locally stranded individuals. But on June 25 in the evening, June 25, yes, June 25 in the evening, up to Sunday, there are 12 cases of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the city of Naga, which was the result of those coming from other places which are had a high occurrence of COVID-19. And yesterday, I had the chance to confer with the Deputy City Director for Operations, Police Lieutenant Colonel Raul Jr. And he suggested that it would be better for us to ask the regional interagency task force to allow the city of Naga to again institute a border control so that we can minimize the risk of increasing the cases of COVID-19 in the city of Naga. That's one way. That's not the only way, but that's one way of controlling the occurrence of COVID-19 cases in the city of Naga. And that will help us contain the cases within the city. So I believe that it is really necessary for us to contain the occurrence of COVID cases in the city. If we cannot control this, time will come that we cannot cope up with the situation. So as early as now, I believe that we should we cannot on our own impose that border control, but we need the approval of the interagency task force, the regional interagency task force, to allow us to impose a border control to and from the city of Naga. So with that, Madam Chair, I believe that we should support the initiative of the city mayor. The city mayor has already sent a request to Malacanang into the interagency task force regarding this matter. So I believe that we should support that initiative for the welfare of our constituent in the city of Naga. So if there are no more comment from my colleagues on joint and collective motion, I move that we pass a resolution requesting the regional interagency task force on emerging infectious disease to allow the city of Naga to impose border control to and from the city, effective immediately.
Second.
On joint and collective motion. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Honorable Mayor Rakid Arroyo.
Support of that resolution, but has that resolution been drafted already? Where? So can we have a copy?
No, we don't have a copy
of that
I
resolution?
think this was brought about by yesterday when the Honorable Del Castillo was talking with the mayor. And he initiated the move to support the request of the mayor. There's already a request by the mayor to the national and regional.
So can we at least have a copy of that
The request of the mayor.
Yes, can we have a copy so that what we can really actually pass is a resolution supporting?
I think it was in our chat group.
Was it sent to us, Madam Chair?
Oh, yeah, I think. Nabasa ko yan eh. Nabasa ko.
Can we flash it on the screen?
Igwa ka sa ito. Okay, Honorable Del Castillo.
Actually, I did not yet draft the resolution, Madam Chair, but within the day, I will draft that resolution.
Okay.
so that all the members of this body will see the content of
defer
such.
this temporarily while waiting
Yes.
for the letter of the request of the mayor. Before that, Honorable Del Rosario.
Good morning again, Madam Chair. I suggest, Madam Chair, that we address the resolution to the national IATF.
Abako na sa rin.
Kami partners ang regional because the regional officers of the IATF only implements what's being instructed by the national. So the resolution should be addressed to the President, Duque, and Anyo. Yun yung ano. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Del Rosario. This is temporarily deferred. May we go now to the next item?
Unfinished business. The endorsement from the acting city administrator endorsing for ratification the memorandum of agreement entered into between the city and Barangay Mabolo with regards to the transfer of financial assistance of 500,000 pesos.
Honorable Rosales.
Madam Chair, this pertains to the ratification of the memorandum of agreement entered into between the City Government and Barangay Mabolo, represented by Punong Barangay Ramil Hob, with regard to the transfer of financial assistance amounting to 500,000 pesos chargeable against the Barangay Support Fund. In one of the provisions of the memorandum of agreement, it has already been stated that the barangay will no longer avail of the 2020 Barangay Support Fund. So may I move for the ratification, Madam Chair?
Okay. Approved. Next item.
The endorsement from the office of the city mayor endorse.
Honorable Del Castillo.
Clarification, Madam Chair. That pertains to the 2020 Barangay Support Fund.
Barangay Support Fund.
I remember that we reverted portion of the Barangay Support Fund. So my question is there
Is
a
it
balance
available?
from that fund to cover this financial assistance? Because I remember that we already reverted the appropriation for Barangay Support Fund. And second, Madam Chair, what's the specific purpose for the transfer of this fund to Barangay Mabolo?
There's a motion of the Honorable Rosales to approve the. Are you not concurring with the motion of Honorable Rosales?
Yes,
Are you
unless
objecting
that
to the
query on the
Query.
availability of fund is answered, I think we cannot ratify this agreement. Because once we ratify this agreement, it will be binding to the City Government of Naga. So we must be assured that the fund is still available.
But since it's endorsed by the Francisco
Yes,
Mendoza,
yes,
which
but
is the budget officer.
sometime in, I think, late March or early April, we reverted the balance of the Barangay Support Fund. So that's why I'm raising this issue, Madam Chair.
So may we invite the budget officer?
I think so.
So this,
So that we can be assured that
are you agreeable to the proponent?
once we ratify this, there is an available fund to cover this obligation.
Okay. So this is temporarily
Yes.
deferred.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
May we request the secretary to call the city budget officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you, Honorable Abonal? A while ago you were raising your hand. Any comment? Okay. Next item.
The endorsement from the office of the city mayor endorsing for ratification the memorandum of agreement entered into by in between the city and the Bagrandepe Irrigators Association Incorporated.
Agriculture. Agriculture. This is
Agree.
for ratification. We already issued a resolution. Honorable Del Castillo.
Rice transplanter, Madam Chair, came from the Department of Agriculture. It was transferred to us from DA to be eventually donated or transferred to the respective irrigators association. And Bagrandi is one of those beneficiaries of this equipment. This was already taken up during one of the committee hearing of the Committee on Agriculture. But it's already quite some time. So, with this MOA, Madam Chair, and since the transfer from the Department of Agriculture of this one unit rice transplanter is really for the Bagrandi Irrigator Association, I move that we ratify the MOA between the city and Balatas, Concepcion Grande, and Concepcion Pequeña Irrigators Association Incorporated.
Second.
Okay. Motion is approved. Honorable Arroyo.
Actually, the procedure, Madam Chair, is when a motion is made and it is seconded, that means it's ready for deliberation. That doesn't mean that it is seconded, it's already approved. That's why there's no deliberation anymore. Once it is seconded, then it's deemed approved. An example was earlier, the point raised by Honorable Del Castillo, it was actually a clarification on the matter. So it's not an objection. It wasn't an objection, it was a clarification. So when a motion is made and a second is given, then it's ready for deliberation. If there's none, then it's approved because it is seconded. So may I move, Madam Chair, that when a motion is seconded, the chair calls for deliberation. If there's none, then we approve. Then it's approved.
Okay,
On that
thank you,
matter,
Honorable Arroyo.
thank you, Madam Chair. On that matter, may we know the terms of the agreement because it has been an experience that once a facility or an equipment is donated, no replacement provision is made until it gets rotten and therefore down the drain again. So may we know what is the obligation of the city government or of the donee in terms of ensuring that that unit or equipment will be used and ensuring its continuity. May we see, Madam Chair, from the Memorandum of Agreement? So it will be voluntarily surrendered to the LGU Naga when it has not been properly maintained and utilized for 1 year.
1 year.
In other words, Madam Chair, we will wait for 1 year before it is, there should be 1 year period of non-maintenance before it will be taken back by the city government.
There is an amendment, may section, ano siya? You can amend it. The last one.
So I believe in our ratification, we can add a provision, Madam Chair, which will become part of the MOA itself in our ratification. Because I think we should remove that term for 1 year. We can just say it has not been properly maintained and utilized. Why does it have to be for 1 year? So the ratification, Madam Chair, should include a proviso that the equipment will be voluntarily surrendered to the city government if it has not been properly maintained and utilized by the donee.
Okay, that will be included in the resolution.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. One of the provisions of the
Yes,
ratification.
in the resolved portion. In the resolved portion, there should be a proviso.
So before the amendment of the MOA section,
In the resolution, Madam Chair, in our
the
resolution of
resolution.
ratification, so we will just include it.
okay.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Honorable Malsaki Arroyo. Next item. Yaw na si, Amaya pa. Honorable Arroyo.
Before that, Madam Chair, may I please move that we go back to the ratification of the payment to Ms.
Judith Claro,
Yes, Madam Chair.
the balance.
Yes, Madam Chair, because I noticed there that the city undertakes to pay for the capital gains tax. The capital gains tax, Madam Chair, is an obligation under the law by the seller. Pero pwede man pong kita ang mabayad kang capital gains tax kung ang value kang property is less than the appraised value.
Item number 6.
Para lang careful kita, Madam Chair, because there should, in giving benefits to a private party, it should not result in prejudice to the city government. So, klaroon talang tabi, Madam Chair, is the value of the property under this deed of sale below the appraised value? Kasi kung below, then yes, it should not be over or just equal to the appraised value. Kasi prejudicial sa city government if the obligation of the buyer will be shouldered by the obligation of the seller will be shouldered by the city government. So, iklaro na lang muna tabi, Madam Chair, so that we will all be safe on this matter.
May correction ba yan? Is it inclusive or exclusive?
Exclusive.
Exclusive. The dati.
So, in other words, daikaibanan sa
Daikaibanan
217
duman sa
na ibabayad na because kita nga ni ang
ang
mabayad.
mabayad.
So, may we know the consideration for that, Madam Chair?
Yeah, maybe pag nag-abot si Satuyang who was the signatory, I think it's Mr. Mendoza who signed that.
Yes, if we could have the appraisal.
Ano ta na lang pag-abot ni Mr. Mendoza.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Because he was the signatory in this request. Bako man si Mayor. Okay? So, next item.
The endorsement from the Office of the City Mayor endorsing for ratification the MOA between the city and the Naga City North District Irrigators Incorporated.
Again, the Chair of the Committee on Agriculture.
Can we see the memorandum of agreement? I have not seen
Memo
one.
of agreement. Kindly flash
This
it
is the
in.
first time that I learned of this agreement.
So, we defer this temporarily?
Yes,
Okay.
so that
defer-
we can see the content of the agreement.
Okay. Page left. I think it's the same with the background TP. So there should be the provision as stated by the Honorable Mayor Arroyo will also be included in the ratification.
So with the same
the same.
condition as suggested by the Honorable Arroyo on the previous ratification of the MOA o Bagrandi, Madam Chair.
Okay. And motion duly seconded. Is it approved? Any other comment or clarification? Honorable Del Rosario.
Madam Chair, suporta mo po ako dyan. Kailang i-recall ko lang po itong committee hearing sa Committee on Agriculture na nagagad po kami ng full details kan si mga pig-donate kang Department of Agriculture sa satuyang Department of City Agriculturist Office. Ano. I understand na siguro may pinadara naman. Kailang nahiling mi duman na kadakol na mga pig-download sa itong mga gamit, mga facilities, ang dahil gayon na ma-maximize ang gamit, ang use. Ang iba din nagtutono ang pigagamitan sa kasi basta din guys na ma-maximize to the detriment of not only the city government but the national government sinag-donate. Kaya on this score, Madam Chair, gusto ko giraray na ipasabot na dawa ng mga facilities ni o mga gamit ni o mga equipment ni from the national government dapat na pangatamanan manggiraray. Kaya siguro i-manifest ko, Madam Chair, na agadon tagiraray si mga listahan kan mga pig-donate sa LGU Naga, and next session i-present sa toya kang representative kang city agriculturist or ang city agriculturist mismo, explain sa toya ano na si mga status kani, kung ini mga income generating, kung igwanin tol-tol na income na naglaog, etc. Para mahiling ta. Tangarig masundan ta ining pig-aproban tang iningon yan na kung talagang mamamaximize ang gamit kani, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Del Rosario. The City Secretary is instructed to write the City Agriculture. Okay, next item.
The report of the Committee on Laws, Ordinances, and Reorganization.
Honorable Del Castillo, Chair of the Committee on Laws, Ordinances, and Reorganization.
Yes, sir.
Dua.
Proceed. I move for the acknowledgement of the report.
The report is acknowledged.
The first report, Madam Chair, is the report of the Committee on Laws, Ordinances, and Reorganization held on June 15, 2020. Item number 1 is the proposed ordinance authored by the Honorable Elmer Baldemoro, entitled An Ordinance Prohibiting the Publication and Use of false report which may endanger the public during times of emergency, crisis, or disaster, or other similar situation in Naga City. May I proceed directly to the disposition, Madam Chair?
You may proceed.
Disposition on motion of Honorable Joselito de Rosario, duly seconded, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panansod to refer the matter to the city legal officer for his opinion. So I move that we refer the matter to the city legal officer.
Matter is referred to the city legal officer.
Item number 2 is proposed ordinance authored by the Honorable Elmer Baldemoro, entitled An Ordinance Prohibiting the Hoarding and Panic Buying of Basic Commodities and Essential Supplies in Times of Emergency, Crisis, Disaster, or other similar situation in Naga City. Disposition on motion of Honorable Gregorio Abunal, seconded by Honorable Joselito de Rosario, the committee resolved to recommend to Sangguniang Panansod to pass an ordinance prohibiting the hoarding and panic buying of basic commodities and essential supplies in times of emergency, crisis, disaster, or other similar situations in Naga City. May I request the principal proponent, Madam Chair, to do the honor of moving for the approval of this.
Honorable Baldemoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I move, Madam Chair, for the approval of my proposed ordinance.
Second.
Okay, approved.
Item number 3 is Barangay Ordinance number 2020-03 of Barangay Concepcion Pequeña, Naga City, requiring all household residential houses to obtain a free color-coded house number plate upon approval of this ordinance through public hearing and the same shall be displayed on residential houses for specific house identification and with household registry number known under Concepcion Pequeña's jurisdiction. Disposition. On motion of Honorable Gil Rosales, seconded by Honorable Joselito del Rosario, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Palunsod to return back the matter to the Barangay Council of Concepcion Pequeña for modification and amendment, taking into consideration the limitation of the penalty imposable as by the barangay under the local government code. For the information of the body, Madam Chair, the penalty imposed by under this ordinance is more than the authorized amount as set under the local government code. The local government code only allows barangays to impose a maximum fine of 1,000 pesos. In this ordinance, the maximum fine imposed is 7,000 pesos, which is more than that allowed under provinces and cities. So with that, Madam Chair, I move that we refer back this ordinance to the originating barangay.
So this matter is referred back to the barangay concerned. The Secretary is...
Item number 4 is Barangay Ordinance 2020-04 of Concepcion Pequeña, authorizing the issuance of barangay identification card and providing fund for the implementation thereto, and shall cover or legal age residents under the jurisdiction of Barangay Concepcion Pequeña. This same disposition, Madam Chair, as that of item number 3. The ordinance imposes penalty which is beyond than that authorized under the local government code for barangay to be imposed. So I move that we return this ordinance to the Barangay Council of Concepcion Pequeña.
So the Secretary is instructed to return this to the barangay concerned. Next.
Item number 5 is proposed resolution authored by the Honorable Gil Rosales, entitled Resolution Constituting the Naga City Labor Management Council, designating its members and requesting the Naga City People's Council, the Naga City Gender and Development Council, and the Metro Naga Chamber of Commerce and Industry to submit their nominees for appointment by the City Mayor to represent the private sector in the Council as provided under Ordinance 2002-052 as amended by Ordinance 2019-037. There was a lengthy discussion on this item, Madam Chair, and may I proceed to the disposition?
Proceed.
With the manifestation of the proponent to return back the proposed resolution to him for modification, on motion of the Honorable Del Rosario, duly seconded, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Palunsod to return back the resolution to the Honorable Rosales for modification and refinement. So moved, Madam Chair.
Matter is returned back to the proponent.
That ends my report on the committee hearing held on June 20. Can I continue with the second report, Madam Chair?
Continue.
May I move for the acknowledgement of the report of the Committee on Laws, Ordinances, and Reorganization held on June 22, 2020.
The report is acknowledged.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item number 1 is later dated March 12, 2020 from His Honor the City Mayor, this city, requesting for the creation of a training specialist 1 in 2 positions for teacher 1 in order to meet the requirements of Sid Montessori School by the Department of Social Welfare and Development as a preschool institution. There is only one item, Madam Chair, but we have a very lengthy discussion on the matter. So can I proceed directly to the disposition?
Kindly proceed.
The committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Palunsod to invite the city budget officer in the next committee hearing to assure if there is fund available for the purpose. Actually, Madam Chair, as far as the creation of this position is concerned, the head of the CSWD, including Mrs. Romano, manifested before the committee that this creation is necessary for the accreditation of our SID Montessori and early education and development program in the city. So the Honorable Rosales manifested that in the creation of this position, there should be a basis. So we, in the second disposition, we recommend to the Sangguniang Palansod to direct the CSWDO to submit the needed request subject to the submission of additional requirement or document to justify the creation of the position of 2 teachers and 1 training specialist. So move, Madam Chair. That ends my report, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Del Castillo. Next item.
The report of the Committee on
Vice
People Empowerment.
Honorable Jill Rosales.
May I request acknowledgement of the committee report of the Committee on People Empowerment.
Your report is acknowledged.
The meeting was last June 24. There was only one item discussed by the committee, and there was no quorum. So may I also move that the body be converted as a committee of the whole.
Sangguniang is now convened as a committee of the whole.
For item number 1, proposed ordinance authored by this representation entitled An Ordinance Ensuring an Updated Directory of Accredited Civil Society Organizations by requiring the submission of an annual accomplishment and status report to the Sangguniang Panglungsod, prescribing penalty for the violation thereof. This particular ordinance, Madam Chair, was referred back to the committee because there were several suggestions and recommendations by the stakeholders to be incorporated in the proposed ordinance. And after further consultation with the NCPC and the Executive Director and Chairman, they have already considered the ordinance they have already been satisfied with the proposed ordinance, Madam Chair. So the disposition was to move for the passage of an ordinance, for the passage of the ordinance. And I reiterate my motion, Madam Chair.
Any second?
I have requested also the Secretariat to flash the proposed ordinance in front for the deliberation of this body of the proposed ordinance. There are only 9 sections. Only 4 or 5 sections are so we can go section by section, Madam Chair. So in section 3, Madam Chair, we will see that the requirement is to submit an annual accomplishment and status report for all accredited CSOs immediately within the first quarter of every year, starting next year. And on the second paragraph, you will see that electronic submission through email of the required reports shall also be accepted as a means to comply with the requirements imposed under this ordinance, provided that the SP Secretariat has duly acknowledged through email the receipt of complete documents as required under section 4 of this ordinance. It's not section 2. So the content of the report is under section 4, and only complete reports shall be received by the SP Secretariat. So there are only 4 required documents: the letter or board resolution manifesting the intention to seek for reaccreditation, the updated contact information, which may already be included in the letter of application, list of officers and members in good standing, and the documentation of activities held by the organization during the immediately preceding year. In Section 5, it is stated that the Committee on People Empowerment through the technical assistance of the SP Secretariat shall function as follows. Be primarily responsible in the maintenance and regular updating of the directory. Ensure the organization and safekeeping of all documents and files pertaining to accredited CSOs. Submit to the Sanggunian the updated directory of accredited CSOs once all reports have been consolidated after the first quarter of the year. Post in at least 3 conspicuous places the list of accredited CSOs in the city within 10 days after the submission of the updated directory of accredited CSOs to the Sanggunian. Furnish a copy of the updated list of accredited CSOs to the recognized People's Council and, if any, all other People's Council in the city, and devise a mechanism to remind all accredited CSOs of their regular reportorial duty as imposed under this ordinance, preferably through electronic means using the contact information provided in the updated directory. In Section 6, this speaks of the penalty for failure to comply with the requirement of this ordinance, which is the withdrawal of accreditation. All accredited CSOs which were not included in the updated list as posted in compliance with Section 5. This is Section 5. Section 5 of this ordinance. Section 5, number 4 of this ordinance shall have their accredited status considered withdrawn. And Section 7 is the repealing clause. There is an existing ordinance which requires accredited POs and NGOs to submit a report biannually, and this ordinance in effect shall repeal the city ordinance number 1998-090 of the Honorable Arroyo. So this proposed ordinance is still subject for revision if there are any comments from the members.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. So we had a chance together with Attorney Masakit Arroyo with Ms. Marivic Balance, and she reported na ang ibang CSO are not already active, and ang si mga nagtutukaw has already transferred to another municipality. So bako ng mga tiga-Naga, but they still represent the organization. Is that allowed in our ordinance? Oh, dahil na mayo na digdi, dahil na nag-i-star. But he or she still represents the organization in the NCPC.
I think, Madam Chair, it is provided in their constitution and bylaws. Ang pag-elect po nila kang members of the board of the NCPC. But this ordinance is only for the updating of our directory.
Sige. Honorable Miles Arroyo and then Honorable Valdemoro.
Um,
090.
Authored by Honorable Arroyo. 1998 090. Yes. Ulay ko nga talagang required sinda na mag-report every year kan sa indang accomplishment bago ta baga magtao giraray ning budget. Yes, that's a condition. Yes, continuing financial assistance from the city. Ulay ko, igana. So, ayan. Okay, 6 months. Every 6 months. Itong sa inda, 1 year. Oh, 1 year sa iya.
proposed ordinance, Madam Chair, proposes the annual submission of an accomplishment and status report to the Sanggunian.
6 months.
Yes, Madam Chair.
The ordinance.
Society development.
The section 2 only provides for the definition of accreditation. It is in section 6, Madam Chair.
Yes, section 6. I think it will help if we will indicate what actually are the rights that comes with accreditation status. So that aram ta din kung ano rin si mawawara sa inda kung considered withdrawn ang accreditation ninda. So I think it will help so that it will be clear.
Another section.
Yes, another section, Madam Chair.
Inclusion of another siguro before section 6. Siguro section
Or
6.
pwede sigurong idagdag, Madam Chair, shall have their accredited status considered withdrawn and therefore the following rights and benefits. Baka idagdag ta na lang.
I think that is better, Madam Chair.
Are you agreeable?
Yes, Madam Chair. And for the benefits, I think it is also provided in the People Empowerment Ordinance.
Not really. So we have to define it here. Kasi yung Empowerment Ordinance very general, 'di ba? And there are other ordinances also that defined additional rights, privileges, and duties of accredited NGOs. So I think we should include it there.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam.
It can be incorporated, the proposals of the Honorable Arroyo in this proposed ordinance. So I'll take note of that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. Honorable Del Rosa. Honorable Baldemoro was raising his hand a while ago.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I am in support of this proposed ordinance. However, during the committee hearing, I move to request and be furnished the members of the Sanggunian the list of the accredited organization by the city and also the list of the member organization by the NCPC. However, the said manifestation was not included in the committee report. So, may I remind the chairman that this was part of the committee hearing. So, again, Madam Chair, may I move to request a copy of all the accredited organization by the city government and also the list of the organization member of the NCPC. Thank you, Madam.
Yes, Madam.
Honorable Baldemoro.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Included in the committee report.
Yes, it will be. The committee report shall be
Will be amended.
amended, and the request of the Honorable Baldemoro. The list is available, so I can send it within the day or later.
Okay, thank
Earlier.
you, Honorable Rosario. Honorable Del Rosario.
Still on section 6, the withdrawal of accreditation. If the main author would agree, maging specific yung withdrawal, not by implication. Kasi sa party ko, ang kami nabasa ko ang Section 6, itong ma-accredit mo, ipopost ang listahan, then si Dai kabali duman sa listahan, deemed as withdrawn ang status. Aram to kumbaga, Madam Chair, na pag Dai mo pig-specify, kadakol minsan baga ang mga tao makukulit, may mga naiintindihan na may mga regulasyon. Kaya mas maray na ang Section 6, Madam Chair, mas specific. Si mga pig-accredit, ano si mga rights na ma-acquire niya, arin man si mga pig-withdrawn, si mga status, and arin si mga rights and privileges na nawara sa iya. Para specific. Kung ma-agree kayo ang main author, Madam Chair. Thank you.
The proponent, are you agreeable to the proposal of the Honorable Del Rosario?
Yes, Madam Chair, the suggestion is also good, and I will consider how it will be incorporated in Section 6. So
Sure. So there will be two amendments in Section 6. The one proposed by the Honorable Miles Raquid Arroyo and the one proposed by the Honorable Del Rosario. Okay. You may now proceed, Honorable Rosales.
So, if there are no more changes, Madam Chair, I will just be amending the relevant sections as discussed, and may I move for the approval of this proposed ordinance on second reading?
Second reading.
Okay.
Approved.
That ends my report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. Next item,
The report of the Committee on Housing and Settlement.
Honorable Mila Raquid Arroyo, Chair of the Committee on Housing. Your report is acknowledged.
Ano pa land use ni ma'am na iba?
Senior citizen
Ayan, 7
naman.
and 8 baga. Yan baga, 7 and 8 to.
We acknowledge the presence of Mr. Willie Prilles,
Dito yan baga.
CPDO.
7 and 8 to, naka-agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ayan,
The
kuya,
committee
report.
deliberated on 5 items. May I proceed with item number 1?
You may proceed.
Letter dated March 20, 2020 of His Honor the City Mayor of this city requesting for the passage of a resolution authorizing the amendment in the deed of absolute sale entered into by and between the City of Naga and Jose Raimundo on May 13, 2003 and with Tita Rianto on August 12, 2003 relative to the acquisition of their respective properties located at Barangay Balatas, Naga City. May I move directly to the disposition, Madam Chair?
Proceed.
With the manifestation from the HSDO that the sellers, Jose Raimundo, is already dead and there is no certainty that Tita Rianto is still alive, the request of the City Mayor is no longer possible as far as Raimundo is concerned and may no longer be possible as to Tita Rianto. The body therefore resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to return the matter to the office of the City Mayor, informing of the above situation. So we move, Madam Chair.
Any second? So this matter is referred back to the mayor.
Item number 2, letter dated March 5, 2020 of Mr. Jose Blas Henson Jr., Regional Administrative Officer, Jamaica Realty and Marketing Corporation, submitting the certificate of completion issued by the ACLU-RB for the Cokeville subdivision project located at Barangay San Felipe, Naga City. May I proceed directly to the disposition?
Proceed.
The body resolved to defer the matter in the absence of the applicant and request the latter to specify what action is being requested from the Sanggunian. So we move, Madam Chair, to direct the Secretary to return the matter to the applicant and request to specify what action is being requested from the Sanggunian. So we move, Madam Chair.
Okay, the City Secretary so directed.
Item number 3, letter dated January 8, 2020 of Ms. May Sumayop of Queborac, Barangay Bagong Bayan Sur, the city, requesting for the transfer of the property to Vina S.J. Salceda. May I move directly to the disposition?
Proceed.
Considering that the applicant is absent, the body resolved to defer the matter. So we move, Madam Chair.
So this matter is deferred.
Item number 5, letter dated March 9, 2020 of Mr. Danilo B. Lodovice, President and Naga City Urban Poor Federation Incorporated, submitting the details of the approved financial assistance for the year 2020 amounting to 1,568,000. May I move directly to the disposition?
Proceed.
In view of the manifestation of the Naga City Urban Poor Federation Incorporated that it will submit a revised program and budget in order to be in conformity with the objective of promoting partnership between it and the city government, the body resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to return the matter to the Federation and wait for the revised document that it may submit. So we move, Madam Chair.
Return back to the Federation.
Item number 5 and last, Barangay Resolution number 2020-11 of Barangay San Francisco, Naga City, endorsing the request of 10 informal settlers who are residing for a long time in a property by accretion at Zone 4 of this barangay and requesting for technical and legal assistance for possible acquisition of the said property. May I move directly to the disposition, Madam Chair? As the subject families have already been previously awarded with home lots where they should relocate, and in view of the fact that the subject property has been earmarked for road expansion, the body resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to inform the Barangay Council of San Francisco that it cannot grant its request, and further resolve to request the HSDO to furnish the Sangguniang Panlungsod with a copy of the awarded resettlement list to the subject families within 10 days from receipt hereof. So, Madam Chair.
So this is
So, to disposition, Madam Chair, a letter
a letter to the
informing the Barangay Council that Sangguniang cannot grant its request as contained in its resolution. And second, to request the HSDO to furnish the Sangguniang list of the families and their respective lots awarded as resettlement 10 days from receipt.
Any second to the motion? So the two request is
That ends my report for the Committee on Housing and Settlements, Madam Chair.
thank you, Honorable Miles Lakid Arroyo. Next item.
The report to the Committee on Land Use.
Again, Honorable Arroyo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I request acknowledgement of the report of the Committee on Land Use for hearing held on June 15, 2020.
The report is acknowledged.
The committee deliberated on 3 items. Proceed with item number 1. Yes. And item number 1, letter dated March 11, 2020 of Mr. Richard Bringas, Branch Manager, EGMPC, Eternal Gardens Memorial Park Corporation, Naga, transmitting the revised alteration plan in compliance with the parking area equivalent to minimum of 5% of the gross area of the Memorial Park, in compliance with HLURB's rules and regulation for Memorial Park Cemetery under Rule 3. A sub-item, Madam Chair, is a letter dated March 3, 2020 of Mr. Richard Bringas, transmitting the compliance for the said requirement. So may I move directly to the disposition?
You may.
In view of the fact that the roads, alleys, and pathwalks are already incorporated in the plan, but the measurements of these roads, alleys, and pathways are not so indicated, the committee will recommend for the approval of the application upon submission of the plan where such measurements are already indicated. The disposition, therefore, is to defer the matter, Madam Chair. So we move.
Referred back to the
Just to defer, Madam Chair.
matter. The matter is deferred.
Item number 2, letter dated March 3, 2020 of Engineer Alexander Canning, Acting City Engineer, endorsing the proposed ordinance entitled An Ordinance Approving the Requirements and Other Guidelines of the City Government of Naga in Accepting and Approving Deed of Donations of Roads, Alleys, and Lots considered as open spaces of subdivision projects by developers and private lot owners. May I move directly to the disposition?
Proceed.
The body resolved to defer the matter pending submission of the other proposed provisions in the draft ordinance by the city engineer. The city engineer is also requested to submit the e-copy of the proposed ordinance in order that the committee members may already begin finalizing the same. So we move, Madam Chair, that we defer the matter pending the submission of the additional provisions that the city engineer is requesting to be incorporated in the draft ordinance. So we move, Madam Chair.
The matter is deferred.
Item number 3 and last, letter dated June 1, 2020 of Mr. Wilfredo Prillos Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, submitting the technical evaluation of the document submitted by Architect Andrew C. Almeida, Director of Cane Ridge Investment Incorporated, relative to his application for alteration of St. Andrew residences located at Barangay Concepcion Grande, Naga City. May I move directly to the disposition?
You may.
The body resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to return the matter to the City Planning and Development Office to rectify the noted discrepancy and to indicate how the altered plan no longer affects St. James subdivision. So we move to defer, Madam Chair.
So this matter is deferred and returned back to CPDO. Next item.
The report to the Committee on Land Use, dated
Committee,
June 19.
Again, Honorable Arroyo.
Madam Chair, may I request acknowledgement of the report of the Committee on Land Use for hearing held on June 19, 2020.
Okay, report is acknowledged.
But considering, however, that there was no quorum, may I move that we convert this August chamber into Committee of the Whole.
So the Sangguniang is convened as a committee as a whole. Next.
There were 5 items deliberated upon by the committee. Item number 1, letter dated March 27, 2020 of Engineer Emeterio Aman, President, Enjoy Realty and Development Corporation, refiling his request to reconsider the denied application of the ERDC for the alteration of plans of Parkview Executive Townhomes, Maine, by virtue of Ordinance Number 2017-097. May I move directly to the disposition, Madam Chair?
Proceed.
On motion of Honorable Salvador del Castillo, seconded by Honorable Joselito del Rosario, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod as Committee of the Whole to refer the matter to the City Planning and Development Office for technical evaluation and to submit their findings within 1 week from receipt hereof. So we move, Madam Chair.
Second, so this matter is referred back to CPDO.
Item number 2, letter dated May 27, 2020 of Engineer Emeterio Aman, President, Enjoy Realty and Development Corporation, refiling his request to reconsider the denied application of ERDC for the alteration of plans of Parkview Village Phase 2 by virtue of Ordinance Number 2017-097. Same disposition as the previous item, Madam Chair, referring the matter to the CPDO for evaluation. So we move, Madam Chair.
Any second, so referred back to CPDO. Next item.
Item number 3, letter dated March 11, 2020 of Mr. Richard B. Bringas, Branch Manager, Naga, transmitting the revised alteration plan in compliance with the parking area requirement. This is actually in connection with the previous item, Madam Chair, which we deferred. But in this committee hearing, the applicant already submitted the missing information that the committee requested, which is to indicate the specific sizes, width of the roads, alleys, and pathwalks as indicated in the plan. So they have already submitted, Madam Chair. So with the compliance by the applicant on the required documents to be submitted, on motion of Honorable Salvador del Castillo, seconded by Honorable Joselito del Rosario, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod as Committee of the Whole to pass a resolution approving the application of Mr. Richard Bringas, Branch Manager, EGMP Naga, for the alteration of plan of the Eternal Gardens located in Barangay Balatas, City of Naga, particularly the width of the roads, alleys, and pathwalks. So we move, Madam Chair.
Second. So approved.
Item number 4, letter dated June 1, 2020 of Mr. Wilfredo Priles Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, submitting the technical evaluation of the document submitted by Architect Andrew C. Almeda, Director of Cambridge Investment Incorporated, relative to his application for alteration of St. Andrew residences located at Barangay Concepcion Grande, Naga City. Also, in connection with the item treated in committee hearing held on June 15, the applicant already complied with the missing information as clarified by the CPDO. So disposition, with the favorable recommendation of the City Engineer's Office, on motion of Honorable Salvador del Castillo, seconded by Honorable Joselito del Rosario, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod as Committee of the Whole to pass a resolution approving the application of Architect Andrew C. Almeda, Director of Cambridge Investment Incorporated, for the alteration of plan of St. Andrew's residences located in Barangay Concepcion Grande, Naga City. So we move, Madam Chair.
Any second?
Maybe for information of this August chamber, we know that the that St. James subdivision has been raising certain issues, but in this concern, Madam Chair, the city engineer manifested that the drainage of St. Andrews does not actually pass through the drainage of St. James. So at least that settles the matter, Madam Chair.
As raised by Mr. Pilapil.
As raised by Mr. Pilapil. Okay. That's for information. So last item, Madam Chair, letter dated June 8, 2020 of Mr. Wilfredo Priles Jr., City Planning Development Coordinator, submitting the technical evaluation of the document submitted by Mr. Edgar Lopez, Community Association President of ICEFA, Homeowners Association, relative to his application for development permit of the proposed ICEFA Homeowners Association located at Barangay San Felipe, this city. So we move directly to the disposition, Madam Chair. On motion of Honorable Salvador del Castillo, duly seconded, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod as Committee of the Whole as follows. Number 1, return the application to the applicant with the information that they need to coordinate with the CPDO, the ENRO, and the city engineer in order that they may fully be apprised of the requirements they still need to comply with. So we move, Madam Chair.
Okay, approved.
And second recommendation, to send to the Social Housing Finance Corporation requesting information as to why it had already paid the owner of the property now being occupied by ICEFA, when in fact it is still agricultural and no development permit has been issued to it yet. So we move, Madam Chair, that we draft a letter addressed to the Social Housing Finance Corporation because there seems to be an inconsistency in the procedure applied by SHAPC in treating this project. So we need to know why so. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable David Arroyo. The City Secretary is instructed to draft the letter.
Madam Chair,
Any comment?
this, yes, as far as item 1 of the final disposition, I am a member of the committee, Madam Chair. I already manifested this during the committee hearing, but for purposes of informing other members of the committee, Sanggunian, Madam Chair. Of course, I do not object, but I would like to reiterate that yung ICEPA, Madam Chair, yung mga residents dyan, nabudol-budol yan kan mga panahon. Igwang nag-coordinate dyan na, na tao na nagpara-kolekta, then suddenly nawara si nagko-kolekta. So kadakol sindang naibayad na duman, thinking na si loting na kuanda, piglalakaw man ang ganda tultol. So during the committee hearing, Madam Chair, I expressed this na tabangan kan mga opisina kan City Hall, ENRO, City Engineer, CPDO, ining Homeowners Association dyan na si mga requirements mapadali-dali man base sa leyes sa mga regulasyon dahil naman gayo pa sakitan ta mananggad na kuya na sinda nakuha na sindang kwarta later lang naaraman ninda na si nagparahagad pala sa inda ning contribution sa lang tao. Hirakman. Kaya, Madam Chair, reiterate ko yan for the information of everyone, Madam Chair. Thank you.
With regards to the comment made, I also would like that we investigate kasi kadakol na pa ang nagdidigdi tungkol duman sa property sa Kararayan na sige na ang pabakal. When I inquired sa SSDO, may pamanda ang permit. Ang sa iyo pati, ang sabi pati kang nagpapabakal, project ng city. So kadakol na pong nag-text, and in fact, ang saro sa mga tigadigdi sa City Hall na pinapabayad na. And personnel from DA nakabayad na, and may mga pulis na nakabayad, thinking na project ng city. Kaya pagpapara-inquire sa ko kung project na talaga. So maybe also we can also investigate that, Honorable Arroyo.
Yes, Madam Chair, was the community mobilizer for ICEFA the same as the community mobilizer for this project that you are talking about?
I have no knowledge, pero they are from Manila rin natin.
Okay. So,
Mika,
then I think it should be included as an item in this session, Madam Chair. We cannot include it in the committee report. So I think so as requested by the chair, I think the Committee on Rules should include that in our agenda. But for purposes of the committee report, the point raised by the Honorable Del Rosario was raised during the committee hearing. And siguro po, digdi sa City Hall, mayo mo nagpapadipisil sa tuya, digdi pag may nag-a-apply ng permit sa tuya. Dahil man sinda pinapadipisilan. I-ensure na lang that all the requirements sa application ninda are duly complied with. Siguro ang point that the Honorable Del Rosario wanted to drive in or to drive at na dapat tabangan kang technical persons ta. But we can only do that kaya Councilor Del Rosario pag project ta sinda. Otherwise, pwede kitang masabihan na we're treating them specially. So kung in this project, Madam Chair, it was initially being assisted by the city government, but they veered away from that assistance. In fact, yung nga niyan si comment kang HSDO. Kasi ang problema digdi, Madam Chair, madidipisilan sila magkuha ang development permit dahil rayao na sinda duman, no? So kung rayao na kaya, it's an on-site project, bako na siyang off-site, but they applied it as off-site project, no? So on-site siya. But like what Councilor Del Rosario said, we will do what we can to help them, but within the bounds of the law, where all of us should comply, all the requirements for the permits that they are applying for. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable.
That ends my report.
Thank you, Honorable Arroyo. Next item, Honorable Ranyola. It's only 10:25. Pero napapa-break na siya. Next item, the Honorable Aida City Budget Officer is not yet around. So, next item.
The letter dated June 4, 2020 from Mr. Richard Roza of LYRR Realty Development Corporation with respect to the application for development permit of the proposed Deca Homes Grand Vale 3.
Honorable Committee on Land Use. Land Use and Public Utility. Okay. Honorable Baldemoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, could we go back to item number 4 and 5 of the special business or order?
Yes.
Mr. Willie Prillas is around.
Item number 4 and 5. Okay. The City Development Council. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Willie Prillas, our CPTO head. Ano to? The supplemental annual investment.
Item number 4, Your Honors, is the CDC resolution approving the proposed supplemental annual investment program for 2020.
Okay, Honorable Baltimoro.
Madam Chair, may I move to suspend the rules and invite Mr. Willie Prillas to explain to us the content of this proposed resolution.
The rules is suspended. Mr. Willie Prillas. Honorable Del Castillo.
we can facilitate the discussion on this, Madam Chair. I believe that in gist, what are the proposed amendment as contained in this resolution number 7 as compared with the original approved EIP of the city, so that we can only concentrate on those items. What are the addition, deletion, and how much is the amount involved?
Okay,
Para madali ang discussion.
Okay, Mr. Willie Prillas.
Yes.
You have heard the Honorable Del Castillo. Iyugaro to si sa itumbok ka na.
Para madali. Yes.
Masimbagan.
What are the changes?
From the free views?
Yes, from the approved. In this proposed AIP ini, and how much are involved? Thank you, Madam.
Okay, Mr. Willie Prillas.
Next slide, please. So, ini po, Your Honors, ang breakdown. City Health Office, total of 15 million. Capital outlay of 5 and 10 million for MOE. Essentially, this will go to testing. If you will recall, one of the items in the action plan is for the city to go into testing for COVID-19. HSDO, on the other hand, will get 19 million. The bulk of this will go into hiring people so that it can do a modified bayanihan, community employment program. This is in response to the recommendation during the Sanggunian session to streamline the hiring process and benefit more families. GNP, on the other hand, will have 4.25, 1 million of which will go for equipment. The idea of GNP is to match the demand for certain labor, which will be supplied by the members of the Ginhawang Nagueño community. So it will start with, for instance, household washing services. So the equipment outlay that the city will give can take the form of washing machines that the GNP beneficiaries can take advantage of. CSWDO is asking 26 million of which will go into a local social amelioration plus IKES. When we run through the numbers, we realized that not everybody will benefit from the community employment that will be generated. There will still be localized lockdowns like what's happening in Concepcion. So there has to have, we need to have a facility that will allow the City Social Welfare and Development Office to respond to situations like that. ESO, on the other hand, is proposing 156 million. One major component of this is to provide internet connectivity in the upland area in a last mile telecommunication strategy so that when online delivery of education services under the blended or flexible education arrangement is pursued, the residents of the upland barangay will not be disadvantaged. There is also provision for support for DepEd to facilitate the so-called flexible learning arrangement. This calls for spending on the reproduction of modules that public school teachers will be able to generate, coordinated by the division office. So that's around 242 million, Your Honors. Economic services, yes, Your Honor.
Honorable Castillo.
21.5 million personal services requirement for
That will go to the Educare program, Your Honor. That was the Educare program.
Educare
Personnel?
program.
You will hire personnel?
So that's an addition to our existing program. Because as I've mentioned earlier, we are only interested in the addition. That's why I'm raising that issue. So meaning to say, we will be needing additional 21.5 million for education system.
During the discussion, Your Honor, we pointed out to Ms. Elsie Romano that the direction of the DepEd right now is to move away from face-to-face learning. But she was insisting that for school children, for educare aged children, that is not possible. So the idea is for the teacher to visit the individual homes of the educare children. Probably that's the logic why there is a need to hire more people, because
yes, and 21.5 million is how many personnel will be hired?
How many education centers do we have?
I will take note of that, Your Honor. We'll go back to Ms. Elsie Romano for the details of this item.
Because I believe with the modified system for education now, we will be needing more equipment, not personnel. That's why I'm raising that question, Madam Chair, on the additional 21.5 million for personal services.
Well taken, Your Honor. So our response is to get in touch with Ms. Elsie Romano so that we can have more details for this
There
item.
will be more risk pag face-to-face. Risky man sa mga personnel.
The idea is to do it on a one-to-one ratio, Your Honor. Not center-based delivery of the service.
Honorable Greg Abunal.
Maybe know whether this 156 million is general fund or whatever source that would be taken.
In terms of sourcing, Your Honor, ESO will mostly be sourced from the Special Education Fund.
SEF.
But the rest are sourced from the General Fund.
In other words, you're saying na, for example, yung capital outlay of something like 58 million, that's not a general fund.
Not from the General Fund, Your Honor. It's from the Special Education Fund.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure kasi may mga request na pong pig-submit and pig-take up na ng school board. Although I must say na of the total request nila for all these projects they're presenting, siguro nasa 30% lang nakaya kang SAF.
30%?
Parang nasa 30% lang considering na ang expected revenue that originally was planned for is SEF, parang minus 20% lang. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Labanan. Honorable Mayor Secretary Royo.
Can we first be clarified on the source? Because earlier, because of the pandemic that we are experiencing, the city mayor said that we will be suffering at least 300 million deficit from our budget. So if this is supplemental, where will this come from? If our budget is already on deficit?
The thing here, Your Honor, is for the city budget officer to identify savings or items in the current budget, in the approved budget, that can already be declared as savings. For instance, the travel budget of the city government. will
Yes.
be used for that. But no, what is clear here is that there is no borrowing that will be engaged. So it will be internally generated funds, savings out of
So
the
from the
existing budget.
So,
from
but
the city-
if we said because of COVID-19, there will already be a shortfall. It's a shortfall. So,
Yes.
so how can we expect savings if we are projecting a shortfall in what we will receive?
As I was saying, the city budget office has already identified certain items that can already be set aside for saving. For instance, the travel fund of the city.
Yes, that should answer for the shortfall. We're saying para masimbagan ang shortfall because we will not be receiving this expected income, then the budget that we have allocated for travel and everything, we will have to scrap. So that's already to account for that shortfall. So where will this additional, because this is supplemental, where will this come from?
At this point,
Can we be clarified first on where we will get it?
at this point, Your Honor, I don't have a clear answer for that. The
Yes, the
local
city
finance
budget
committee should
officer.
sit down and identify exactly how much of the savings can be generated, less the shortfall that is projected to take place, so that we can find out how to fund really this 580 million supplemental.
So
AIP.
shouldn't we do first? Shouldn't we do that first?
I think that is
Yes.
required, Your Honor.
Can we sit down na lang together
First,
with the
yeah,
CPDO
before-
and the city budget officer in an executive, parang, okay, Honorable Del Castillo, ano to?
Sir, I think we should discontinue discussion of this
Yes.
unless we are clarified, because that's also my concern. If we will be
Tempo po, anon.
source this addition internally, there should be a subtraction on the existing EIP. So, kuya lang, mapalis-palis lang kita kan pundo. Mabawas kita igdi para mapanuan inyo. So, there, in effect, there will be no addition. In effect, there will be no addition. So, I think at this point in time, there is no point discussing this unless the main issue of where will this came from is answered.
Okay, so what are you suggesting, Honorable
So,
Del Castillo?
I move that we suspend deliberation on this and move for a recess.
Okay, Honorable Del Rosario?
I beg to disagree, Madam Chair. Yung efforts ko niyan, very important. Then nag-meeting ang dali-dali ang CDC. Then big-present din sa tuya mo niyan. Ang sarong source, Madam Chair, is just one of the issues na pwede tang simbagan later on. Pero yung presentation nun very important. Madangog ta, then let's ask later on kung saan after na pigpara-drawing siya, saan ang kabilugan kayan. So, ang issue kung saan ko ano niyan, saro lang yan sa mga issues. So, siguro it's better na we can have a working snacks. Then, dangugon pa. Patapuson ta si Mr. Prilles. Dangugon ta man lang siya eh. Dahil pa man kita ma-approve. Because ito pa nga ni Aram talaga kung saan hali ang ano. Para, anyway, yaw naman lang siya, maximize naman ang time niya. So, I move that we reconsider the decision na i-defer tani. Let's ask Mr. Prilles to continue with this presentation.
The presentation. Are you agreeable, Honorable Del Castillo, that we continue with the presentation of the Honorable, Mr. Willie Prilles? Okay, Honorable Del Castillo.
Since this is a supplemental EIP, meaning we'll be adding to the existing one. But Mr. Prilles have mentioned that it will be sold on the savings. So, dapat yun mo na malinawan. Before we further discuss, ining mga additions rin. I understand na kaipuhan ini. But for our decision-making purposes, dapat maintindihan ta. Arin ang babawason duman sa existing EIP para mapanuan ining proposal na inyo.
So you do not agree to the proposal of the Honorable Del
manifested by
Rosario
the Honorable Arroyo.
that we continue discussing this? So you're not
Unless
agreeable.
that
So,
matter is cleared, paano tama di-desisyonan ni Madam Chair?
okay, thank you, Honorable Del Castillo. Honorable Del Rosario.
Definitely, pasalamat kita kiwili kasi very candid siya, na dahil niya aram. Because ang nakakaaram ka is the local finance committee. So, later on, pagkatapos, ipapunta man local committee, then mag-explain man sa tuya. Sayang kan time kaya, Madam Chair, sayang kan time. Yan man ang purpose ko dyan eh. Now, question. Kung ang local finance committee magsabi, pwede tang ipan dyan, o di sayang kan time ta. Pero kung nadangugta na siya, di diretso ang discussion, Madam Chair. Mayo man tanto dyan eh. Daw ako, dahil man ako para approve kang mga bagay na big para-present sa to, naman pala kitang kwarta. That's loss of time. Precious time.
Okay, thank you.
Ang pigaano ko malang, Madam Chair, yaw na malas Brillies, dangugunta na siya. Anyway, baka na itaman nga na ma-decide ang iningon yan. Yan ang punto kayo. Kasi papaabot ang local finance committee or si mayor o si Mr. Mendoza to explain to us.
Okay, thank you, Honorable De Rosario. Last comment, and then we take a break.
I really see no point discussing this supplemental 2020 supplemental AIP in this form that's being presented. Ang pag-present po kaya sa to, ang pinipresent sa to are real numbers. These are numbers. Kung mayo kitang iniisip din na papagkuan ng kayan, it's really useless. Mas importanteng discuss lugod, ano si gigiribuhon? Ano si gigibon si activity? Because in fact, Mr. Prilles even supplements this presentation with kung ano yung gigibuhon because that's really what we need to hear. Now, kung pira ang kaipuhan dyan, duman sa, after ma-explain ano ang mga planong giribuhon, gurano ang kaipuhan dyan, mapunta kita duman sa gurano ang kaipuhan kayan, paano tayo ifo-fund, pag-igwa na kitang idea, how much money do we really have? I think ang mas importanteng i-present is the activities. Ano sa planong giribuhon, which Mr. Prilles also is doing, supplementing this presentation. But I'd rather see that than these numbers. Kasi numbers lang ini. Parang what's really our point is in asking, ano 1.3, di ba? Ano ang gigibuhon? So that's the real question. Ano ang gigibuhon? Ano 1.3 million for the personal services for SSD o for ESO? Parang I think we should focus on activities. Kasi di ba yung supplemental AIP is really in response to the pandemic. Na dahil sa pandemic, araw kaya nangyari sa tuya, so therefore inano sa itong mga gigiribuhon to respond to that. I'd rather hear that.
Can we take a break and discuss it later after
Yes,
the break?
Madam Chair. So I'd rather hear that than look at the numbers.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you,
Honorable Miles Arroyo. Okay, break first.